there?
Yeah, I left my screwdriver in here, and Zach placed it inside the hand, so I must have shown stream.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. You know what else is hilarious? The opportunity to win a free PC, and we've got that going on right now. So here's the information. If you'd like to get involved in our giveaway, which we're going to show you that right now. God, that's a clean looking PC. You can type !GiveHorus. Not only did our partners with XPG, AData, and Fantex all come through with this, but so did our friends at Beacon, and they're going to be including a Beacon mix crate and a Beacon mic. So you get the whole bundle. It's great for to begin streaming with or to upgrade what you currently have. All you got to do once you hit that is to follow the instructions, do the follows, and if you see a spot down the bottom that says enter code, well, guess what? You're going to find those codes all over the place in our chats here on whichever on today is on, we're focusing on the purple. And then, of course, on our socials, that is YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at CLX Gaming. In our Discord at discord.gg/CLX Gaming. And, of course, on my channels on the green and the purple. So, there we go. But first, we've got a progress or a project from Jesse in Florida. What are we going to be putting inside of Jesse's machine?
That's right. So Jesse has ordered our Horus Ultimate Gaming PC. So starting out, we've got the AMD Ryzen 9 7900X for our processor. That's cool. That we've got our CLX Quench 240mm AIO. The motherboard we're going to be using is an Asus TUF Gaming B650 plus Wi-Fi. And for our memory, we've got 2 sticks of Patriot 16 gig DDR5 5600 speed in RGB. For our storage, we've got an ADATA 1TB 700 gold NVMe M.2 drive, and alongside that, we've got a 4TB Western Digital Blue hard disk drive as a secondary storage option. For our video card, we've got the Asus RTX 4070. I believe we used this one in the last show. Really like the way this looks. I don't know if you've seen one of these yet, Hayden, but they look really cool.
Maybe.
And then we've got 7 of our Game DSA OLED RGB 120mm fans in white to match the case. And to power it all, we've got a Gigabyte 850 watt 80 plus gold fully modular power supply. And obviously for our case, we've got the O11 Dynamic Evo in white.
Nice. Now, of course, if anybody here hears a term or has a question about something they don't understand, or that, you know, you have a general computer question, throw it into the chat. We'll get them answered as quickly as possible. I promise. I've got my chats set up differently today so I can see all of them much easier. Alrighty. So now this is an O11. This is similar to our raw build, which is the dynamic. What's the big difference between that case and this case?
So this is the Dynamic Evo, so it's a little bit smaller. It still fits a full ATX motherboard, but there's just a couple other design elements. We've got one cage for 2.5 inch and 3.5 inch drives. They're not hot swappable, but the overall look of this is the same. Just some of the hardware set up a little differently.
It has the same kind of design as a cover plate.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Nice. I do love the fact that it still has at least the, well, it's not a hot swap bay, is it? It's just a drive bay.
Right, it's just a drive bay. Yep, these ones are not hot swappable.
But if
Kensu says I have a black Evo. Nice.
Your cable's tied up right, you can make it kind of.
That's right. Yeah, you could.
That's what I have at home.
Nice. Nice. All right, first up is going to be our motherboard. And this, of course, is an Asus TUF Gaming B650 Plus Wi-Fi. Now, Paul, what can you tell us about the TUF series of motherboards?
Yeah, so the TUF series from Asus is kind of an in-between between their standard line and their really high-end ROG Strix. It's a good medium in there. It's got its own kind of color scheme, which I like. It's like yellows, grays, and blacks, which I think look really good.
I think it looks good with like Corsair stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I do like all of the, you know, all the heat sinks around there. Plus, it's got heat sink on the lower south bridge. It looks like it also just feels like You know, like the technical, like the tech Legos. They don't know if they still make those anymore. We used to have them where you could just build construction Legos that you could build things that actually moved.
It's called Technic.
You made little machines out of them.
Yeah, I remember
So
that.
they call it Technic?
They're called Technic when I was a kid. Pretty sure they're still around.
Legendary Hawk says, wow, I love how beastly that motherboard looks, right? It really is set up well. What Hayden is plugging in right now, of course, is our processor, and that's going to be the AMD Ryzen 9 7900X. Paul, what can you tell us about this processor?
Yeah, so this is a 12-core, 24-thread processor using AMD's multi-thread technology. Got a base speed of 4.7, and it will boost up to 5.6. So that is a very high base clock, which I like about this processor. It's really good for gaming, and being able to boost up to 5.6 is just even better.
Creepy old man says, I made it in time for the build. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Travel Diva, welcome in. Let's take a look now up at that I/O shield. At the very top, we've got our HDMI display port, which we won't necessarily be using because we've got the graphics card going in there. Down below that is a USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type C and a 3.2 Gen 1 Type A. There's 4 USB 2s. Another, that USB-C down below there is a USB 3.2 Gen 2 by 2. So that's a Type C. That means you've got 20 gigs up and down. Plus, you've got your USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A, your 2.5 gig LAN port, and your 7.1 channel surround sound down below, plus the Wi-Fi 6.
Code.
Nice. Up next. Okay, we've got our... I love the fact he's handing you tools. This is great. All right, up next, we're going to be putting in our operating system storage drive, and that is a 1 terabyte A-Data Legend 700 Gold M.2. We've been seeing a lot of these chosen lately. Why are we not? It's not a matter of why, but we've seen a lot of A-Data products coming through lately. Tell us a little bit about what they do.
I think it's just a really good bang for your buck. Good value, a lot of storage on this without having to break the bank. It's obviously a solid drive. We used a ton of these now. We're constantly getting more in and selling out. So yeah, it's just gained a lot of popularity.
Nice. Really good, really good brand. Let's see, we also have a code that was released by Ivory for the first 50 people. It's Horus-OQER, or Ocker. I don't feel like that's a word, but we're going to try it. We're going to try and run with it. Code! Yes. Greg, what's up? How are you? All right, that gets installed underneath that heat shield. Now, I know I ask this periodically, but how hot can M.2s get?
They really don't get that hot, honestly. It's plenty. We built quite a few systems that just don't have a heat sink on them on the M.2, and they function fine. It's just a little bit of an extra benefit to have a heat shield on there.
Does not have any shields.
Yours doesn't have any heat shields on it? Yeah. Definitely not a requirement, but if it's there, you might as well use it.
I will say that they are very popular now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I noticed you're taking some things off the board. What were those?
Those were the AMD brackets. There's only one AIO that I know of that actually uses those. And then there's one cooler that actually clips onto those. But we need to expose the actual posts.
Ordy's asking for a repeat of the code. I would definitely say pull up both streams. It was Horus-OQER. All right. Next, what you just installed was the RAM. And for our RAM, we are using two 16 gig sticks of Patriot DDR5 5600. That's a total of 32 gigs of RAM, which that's quite good, especially at that speed.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Crunch, we're on all platforms today. We're all over the place.
We're everywhere.
We are all over the place.
Everywhere.
We're like Visa. We're everywhere you want to be.
True.
No. All right. Now, as for our AIO, it is going to be a CLX Quench 240 closed liquid cooler. So let's talk about the difference between the 240s and the 360s. What different sizes are there for AIO radiators, and what's the significant difference in their performance at those levels?
Yeah, so the standard size for AIO is either going to be a 120, a 240, which is what we have here, or a 360, which is a little bit bigger. So that's referring to the size of the radiator and the kind of fans that can go on them. Now there are AIOs that are for 140 mil, 280, and upwards. Those are a little less common though. The main ones you're going to see are 120, 240, and 360. So like I said, that refers to the size of the radiator. So the bigger the radiator, the more coolant in them. So the larger radiator is, the cooler your system's going to run. Now you don't need a 360 for every CPU out there, but you know, once you start getting into these higher end CPUs, it's definitely good to have your minimum be a 240 and then go up from there.
Now, let's see here. Is it better? So Nike asks, is it better for 2 sticks or 4 sticks of RAM?
So there's a couple options. There's a couple arguments there. So 4 sticks of RAM. So let's say we have 2 sticks of 16 gig here. So obviously a total of 32 gigs. If we had 4 sticks of 8 gig, they give us the same capacity, and that would perform a little bit faster than having 2 sticks of RAM, because you're essentially accessing all that memory at the same time. Now the downside of that is the upgradability. So if you have 2 extra slots open and you want to upgrade your RAM later on, you just got to buy 2 more sticks like for this system and you can put them in. I don't think having 4 sticks over 2 equates to a ton more FPS in pretty much every game. So me personally, I would go with the 2 sticks. That way I've got a couple slots open to upgrade later.
I agree with Paul. Having the upgradability is the way I would go.
Yeah.
Now, creepy old Mano2 asks, is there any reason to go with 64 gigs of RAM for gaming?
I mean, 64 gigs is obviously, the more RAM you have, the better. That being said, once you get up to those high capacities, you're probably not going to be utilizing a lot. So if you go with 64 gigs just for gaming, you're essentially just making sure the next new game that comes out next year that requires a crazy amount of RAM, you're ready for it.
I think having 64 gigs of RAM on a gaming machine is a little overkill, unless you're trying to do video editing, I don't know, Photoshop, on top of gaming, maybe some streaming.
Yeah, absolutely.
I personally have 32 and I won't need to go past that.
Yeah. Greg says, DJ, we went to the dollar store yesterday and my kid came home with a blue screaming chicken. Thanks. Oh, I love mine. I've got them all over the studio. Got my giant red one right back here. I can hear red CLX, but not gray. Why do I? Oh.
Me? I'm assuming.
Oh, got it. Hayden. Got it. I was like, red CLX.
I'm red,
But it took me a second to figure out what you were talking about. Yes. So on the right is Paul. On the left is Hayden. Apparently they're having problems.
Can you guys
he's just a
not
bit
hear
quieter.
me?
Got it. Okay.
Should I start screaming?
Maybe just a happy medium.
The
in between.
What's the highest for RAM up to now? I have 32 gigs of I have 32 gigs of RAM. I think it's depend. Is that dependent on the motherboard, or are we talking speeds?
Depends on motherboard for sure.
Yeah, most motherboards have a gaming motherboards have a capacity of 128 gigs. That's obviously way overkill in my opinion, unless you're just doing some editing or Photoshop like Hayden said, and you can really utilize that. 64 is still considered a lot to me just being in the industry. Like 32 is still like, oh, that's a lot, but 32 isn't crazy to me anymore.
I think
64 is still that way.
Minimum.
Yeah. Like I just upgraded to 32 as well, just because I got a good deal on it here.
And of course, this board maxes out at 128 gigs. It is a DDR5 board, so. Now, I mean, I went with 64 just because I use this computer for so many different things. But also, it means I'm not going to really have to do anything aside from upgrade the graphics card one day. And that day is not anytime soon. One thing I do want to point out and ask, just because I ran into this the other day, in fact, it was on Tuesday. I had updated a driver for NVIDIA, and it knocked my FPS in Dying Light 2 down in half. What is your recommendation on how often you should update those drivers? Because I had to roll it back.
Mine is if your game's working, don't update it.
You're good.
Yeah.
If you have like an older card, like a 1080 Ti, like me, I get the notification that a driver update's ready, and then you go to click it. It isn't going to do anything. They're not updating the 1080 Ti's anymore. They're not upgrading 20 series anymore. But like Paul was saying, if your game's running great, you don't need to do anything.
Yeah, with drivers, I don't always try to have like the latest and greatest because I'm sure a lot of people have experienced it. You can run into issues if it's like, oh, this driver dropped today, let me update it.
I feel like if you do want to have the latest, then I would wait a week or two after it comes out to see how it's
That is a pro tip right
going
there.
with other people.
Yep.
Now, Jerry Hot clarified speed. They were talking about speed. What's the fastest that RAM is coming out with right now? I know that
6,000.
So yeah,
6,000
6,000 is the fastest that I've ever built in. I think probably the fastest that we've seen here. That being said, there's probably some that's faster, 6,200, 6,400 speeds maybe, and we'll see that go up here, 6 months from now. That's usually what happens when the next generation of RAM comes out. We'll start seeing the increase of speed there. Like with DDR4 when that came out, it came out at 2133 speed and just kind of worked its way up to where it's at now with like 3200 and 3600. Now it's like with DDR4, the standard is 3200, I feel like. So.
And it looks like Kingston Fury you can get it up to 7200.
Yeah, okay.
That's wild.
Yeah,
that is so wild.
I don't think.
Right? Yeah.
If you want 4 6 of that, you're not going to be able to get that.
Yeah.
It's not possible. You'll have to downclock until you can get your PC to boot.
Oh, geez. That sounds like a process.
Yeah, it's no fun. I blame.
So, question for Paul from Legendary Hawk. Could a 4090 fit in a mid-tower, or is that card just way too big?
Yeah, so the quick answer there is going to be yes, but it's also going to depend on your mid-tower. The mid-tower name for cases is a little bit misleading. A mid-tower is your standard size, really. So this I would consider a small mid-tower. The O11s and like NV5 and maybe even the NV7. I think the NV7 calls itself a mid-tower, but we pretty much consider it a full tower.
The side of the box, I'm pretty sure, says that.
What you want to look at, let's say, like if you Legendary Hawk, if you have a mid tower and you're looking to go to a 4090, what you want to look at is probably fan placement in the case. So like with this one, our fans primarily are in the bottom and the top and the back. So we have all this room in the case here. We can go to overhead real quick. We've got all this room in the case here for a giant video card. Now some cases have the fans in the front, and that can really push back this area, and that's what can cause a lot of fitment issues. So it depends on the case, but most 4090s will fit in a mid-tower.
Over on the red, J-Car is here. Hello, 1966 J-Car. What's going on? And that stand up back on top. I'm not sure to what that you're referring to. Back over on the purples, let's see here. Yes, I remember when 2 to 4 gigs was wild. I remember when having 2 to 4 gigs of just anything was just crazy. Yeah, let's see here. So is there any way to check specs of your PC after you have it? Because I have one, but I forgot what specs got in it. If you right click into and get your task manager up, you can go to the second tab over, and it will tell you or if you go to performance, you'll also be able to see what it is and what speed it's running at.
Yep.
Yep, that'll show you.
If you also want to figure out what OS you have, you can type in RAM in the settings in your taskbar, and it'll shoot you straight to like the settings where you have your RAM and your OS, some other info.
Let's see here. Nike asks, how often should you upgrade the entire computer? I'm running on a GTX 720 Ti and a Core i5 6400.
See, I think the right answer for that is whenever you need it for whatever you're trying to do with your machine. That being said, I've had a lot of the same components in my build for probably the last 6 or 7 years, and I just kind of upgrade a component as I go. My video card's obviously changed a lot, but my motherboard and everything else has pretty much stayed the same. I've upgraded my RAM just to get a little bit more, but I've had the same 1,000-watt modular power supply for, I don't even know, probably 7 years now, and it's still running strong. So once you get a solid setup, you're really just upgrading certain pieces as you go, and then over time, you know, your whole system will change. But if you can stick with the same motherboard, which helps you stick with the same processor, that really saves you money, and you just upgrade everything else.
Question coming in from J Card. Is it possible in this case to actually do a vertical mount on the graphics card?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this case does have that option. It will depend on your video card, obviously, but yep.
And let's see here. Where I missed something from Black. Oh, yes. Got it. A lot of people in that one. Yo, Trigger Fingers in the house. Emery was unavailable. That's hilarious. Said G-Skill actually has some 7800 kits for RAM. That's crazy. I love it, but wow. IZ Tom Tom. Hello. I remember when I was a kid having a PC with 512 megs of RAM, right? And that was banger back then. Nike says the problem is his PC is like 7 or 8 years old and the PSU is a 350 watt.
Yeah, when you're getting to be that, when your PC is getting that old, you know, sometimes it's best just to ditch it and upgrade everything, get a whole new machine. You could probably still use like your storage drives in there if you wanted to bring them over, but yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. Okay. Now, we're putting these on here. Obviously, we're going to be including our fans, and those are going to be 7 GameDS Aeolus M2 fans. So with this design, we're going to have 2 fans on top of that radiator pushing the air through so the heat is rising. And the third one is just going to be a standard exhaust.
Yeah, that's the one Hayden's putting in right now. We'll give you guys a little bit better shot of it here in a sec. Oh,
now,
yeah,
is this case require you to do this in a specific order? Because I know there are other things.
There's brackets
where you have to
in
put
this case.
Got it. Okay.
So I have to pull up brackets first.
Gotcha. So, oh. I kind of feel like you answered your own question. Got it. Here we go. So, but the question is from Wally. Question regarding what is better GPU of the two, the 3090 or the 4070? I've seen that the 3090 outperforms the 4070 in most games and is noticeably cheaper, but the 4070 supports the DLSS 3, draws less power, and it's probably better for the future considering the newer technologies that it has.
Yeah, I mean, I think your assessment there is spot on. The 3090 is probably going to perform better today in some games, but I'd probably go with the 4070, honestly. Just a little bit newer, better for the future.
And the big question is, just wondering whether or not the price to performance is worth it. Good question.
Yeah, your price for performance is, you're probably going to get more out of that 3090 right now, just because the price is going down on those quite a bit. But like I said, that'll change in the future. Like, I'm still rocking a 2080 Super, so whenever I go to upgrade, I'm gonna go with a 3080 or a 3090 just because I can get a good deal on them. I would love to have a current 40 series, but you know, saving the money.
Jesus. Teddy Bear Killer says Gil has a DDR5 8400 kit and Team Group has an 8200 kit. That's just nuts.
Yeah, let me know when it's gaming stable, I guess.
Yeah, in 5 years.
Yeah.
I think it's misleading to people.
It's a
They
little
think they can buy
misleading,
4
yeah.
sticks of it and give it to work.
Okay, so now why wouldn't it necessarily? Is it because
just-
it has to meet the motherboards?
Yeah, it's just too much power.
Okay, got it.
It's like it doesn't know what to do.
The
like-
rest of the industry has to catch up with it, right? Essentially, like the rest of all the other components
Yeah.
have to catch up with it.
You gotta turn it on and you go straight back into BIOS. Like it won't go into Windows. So you have to go into BIOS and turn down your frequency and
Downclock it.
yeah, downclock it, and then you boot in.
Ivory says, I too can pour rocket fuel into my Toyota Corolla.
Yeah, that's a really good.
You can.
Basically what you're doing.
That's
you
exactly
shouldn't.
it. I was gonna say it's like, yeah, I mean, I could overclock memory to 9,000 if we want.
Yeah, you're putting NOS
It's
into
over
your
9,000.
Yeah.
Toyota.
That's
But-
funny. I can't even imagine how fast that engine block would explode the minute you turn it over. You
But
could
yeah,
also
those-
just not turn on XMP. What is XMP?
XMP.
What extreme memory profile? I think is what it stands for. Hayden,
stands for.
you know more about that than I do.
That more
so.
or less just if you have 4 sticks of RAM or 2 sticks of RAM or whatever, you basically want that on. It will make sure that your RAM is going to boost to the frequency that you have it set to.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it overclocking, but
It helps RAM get to its actually advertised speed. Got it. I will say, like, I'm looking over here at my task manager because now you guys have got me looking. And it's interesting how much or how minimal memory is used in certain things.
now go to your
Like
browser
when I'm
and open a bunch of different tabs.
So I have 3 of them open right now.
Try 300.
And it's only using a 300. That is also okay.
4,000
That
tabs.
okay. You talk about pet peeves for a second. It drives me absolutely batty when people have like 80 tabs open on one browser window. I'm like, why are they all there?
Oh, that's my
You should see
boss's
my
computer
workstation.
right there. I didn't even
Oh
know
my
Chrome could do
God.
this, but I was over at his computer, and you had tabs that were like that thin, that were just tiny. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you can get little. What do you have multiple? It starts shrinking.
It shrinks them all, and I'm like, I've never even seen it like that. You've got almost 100
Oh, yeah.
tabs open.
Also pin them. So like mine look like they're open.
Uh-huh.
They're just pinned.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. Kenzie says only 3. Why do I find it so satisfying to watch them build PCs? Honestly, Spyro, I agree.
This is fun.
It's a very relaxing way to start the day.
It is. We're just chilling.
My day's already started.
Yeah. Yeah, we're
He called
halfway
out the
through
boss
here.
man.
Yeah, I'm calling you out, boss. You heard it here.
Chili Sam says, I need the tabs. They are essential.
What if
my
I
mental
forget about
well-being.
these 82 other things I was thinking about? Like, yeah, you already did. You already did forget.
Yep.
I
In
will
case I
say,
need it later, obviously. There we go.
I didn't have that many tabs open until I upgraded my RAM. My PC allows it.
I upgraded my RAM so I could have more Chrome
Oh.
tabs.
That's exactly why.
Okay, now I will say this because Crunchship has a point. It's a mindset. I have 400 tabs open on my phone.
I was joking.
I will be honest. I usually have about 15 tabs on my
Oh my
open on my phone,
goodness.
just because I will see things like, you know, I see a product that I want to research or something on Instagram. So I will, instead of going through the link there, I open the link up and then open that up on my browser and then go back to doom scrolling through Instagram, just so that I can go back to it later. And then I forget about it, and now there's 20 fucking tabs. Oh,
You guys need to get your life together. That's all I have to say.
Yeah,
Close them tabs.
I have maybe 3 on my phone.
I think I got none.
I usually try to keep them closed
Let's
out,
see.
though.
I have 1 tab.
You have 269 on one and 125 on another for your phone?
Yeah,
Wow.
guys.
Your poor
I
phone.
maybe have 8.
By the way, I apologize for that slip. That was completely unprofessional. My bad. When I'm done with something, I remove the tab. Same with text. If I'm not talking to you, I delete the message. Mr. Papa Woody, hello, hello. How are you? Can they flip the case on the front so it's back on top? Yes.
You want
that?
that? Look at that. Beautiful.
I come here to learn about PCs, not to hear about my life being a 30-tab featured.
Well, we're tab shaming here.
Yeah.
You can't always learn. You have to have some lecture.
You're on. Now I kind of want to look and see how many I actually have. Stop tab shaming. All right, I will.
I will never. I will never stop.
Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 6, 9.
9? You were shaming and
12.
12?
15. 18.
I don't have that many. I was kidding.
Gee, this is terrible.
You need to see
18,
a doctor.
20, 21, 22, 23 tabs on just my Safari browser. So I really can't. Oh, not my Samsung browser. So I really can't talk, and I can't talk crap. I am just as guilty as everybody else.
How dare you?
I have so many. It counted them for me.
That is the thing.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
Close your
58
tabs.
tabs on Safari.
Close your tabs, people.
Listen,
Public service
Opera
announcement.
GX keeps
Yeah.
them open for you.
I've never used Opera. Opera is basically Netscape Navigator to me.
It is awesome.
Right.
It's a reskinned Chrome.
Yeah.
I just like the built-in ad blocker, VPN.
Yeah.
They're great.
So question coming in from Low Key over on the Red. It says, hello, I recently got a lump of cash. My PC budget has expanded to around $4,500. There was a PC you guys built for Just Tech, the CLX Raw. I was wondering, wondering what the full price was.
That is a good question. I don't have that on the top of my head, but
I can tell you
I believe that was
close.
a pretty pricey machine. I don't know if it's got to be close to that price range. It might be a little bit more. We used a lot of high-end parts on there, though, so you could get very similar components just by picking a different model on those parts. So just keep that in mind, too.
There we go. And yes, Temperance just sent me a picture of the tabs on her computer. That's great. Also, we had a code rolled up in back there. It was Horus-JDEX JDEX.
Reminds
So.
me of JetX,
JetX.
the channel.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like the morning show cartoon channel.
Yeah.
Just watch Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever on
My
there.
childhood.
Yep.
Pretty sure it's like Disney owned.
Maybe.
Which is always interesting. All right, now we've obviously got it mounted. We've got our fans in the bottom. We've got our fans up top, and we've got our other exhaust fans. So this is going to be, well, this will almost be. Is this going to be a negative pressure system?
Slightly. Since we have a couple fans going on the radiator, it should be very close to, or it will be very close to balanced. But yep.
Okay. Okay. Cool. That's what I was wondering. Radical says my browser stops counting after 99 and just shows me a happy face. Oh my goodness. PSA, the more tabs you have, the more you get out of your PC. You paid for RAM, now use 100% of it.
I don't agree with that statement.
Yes, there we go.
You might as well run your car at 10,000 RPMs to get the most out of it, you know?
Listen,
Come on, Chili.
Going back to Opera, you can like set what you want your PC to use inside the browser, so you can have all those tabs open and it's not going to affect your gaming.
Okay, yeah.
I blame them.
Jokes on you, I don't have a car.
Got him.
Don't know how I missed that one. Somebody on YouTube did a test to see the max tabs. Oh dear Lord, that's wild. Yeah, I've no, my housemate does that on his Mac, his iMac upstairs, and it's. I go in there and he's just got tabs that he pushes and pokes, and I just, it's just no. I'm always afraid that if I end up on, if I accidentally get on a site that's going to be a problem or a potential security threat, like there's always that chance that everything gets compromised. So I'm just, no, I do one at a time. Yeah. First issue is that it's an iMac. Well, it does function. Oh, yeah, Opera GX has a RAM limiter. God, I wish Chrome did.
It's telling you it's reskin Chrome. It's better. Make the switch.
Yeah. Does it though? I mean, yeah. I use a combo of Chrome and Edge, so I have different browsers for different things.
I'm sorry.
What?
Edge is like horrible.
That's why I only use it for certain things.
I used it once to download Chrome.
Currently using Opera GX. Okay.
It
That
does.
is also true. That the new PC, the new Edge does have that AI in it. Yep.
I'm pro humanity, so we won't use that.
I use Bard on the
Right.
daily.
Yeah.
Use Google's
I go to the
AI.
library to look up stuff, okay? Use the
And how's that
Dewey
been working
Decimal
out for you?
System. Yeah.
People are getting called out today, right?
just made
Who
it
is the
AI.
building?
Yeah.
It's the show.
You want to slap this in
Nero?
next? Get it in and out of the way.
All right. Nero asks, who is this building? Who are we building this rig for? This is for Jesse in Florida. Speaking of what we're popping in there right now, so obviously the operating system went on that ADATA M.2, but the secondary storage is actually a 4 terabyte, 3.5-inch Western Digital. And similar to well, not, I guess it's similar sort of to the hot swap bays in the Dynamic. In the raw build, this one has a bay with trays, but it's not a hot swap. I love these systems because of the fact you've got that big gap in there. Again, this is what we consider a 2/3 or a 3/4 build because it's got that space. The motherboard isn't sitting all the way in the back. It's great for your airflow, but also you can fit a lot of things in the back. Just power supply. It doesn't heat up your system. J-Car says, I use 3 Macs for streaming. The 2013 Mac trash can with no HDD, too old and too slow. Got it. Oh, got it. There. So if you want to see this flipped in reverse, we do have a picture of that on the website. There we go. Which is a really interesting way to put it together. Now, what would be the purpose in flipping it like that?
So it changes where the side panel essentially is. So if you have, if you want on the other side of your case, you can do that.
I feel like it only gets.
Oh.
A lot of people have their PC on like the left side.
Yeah.
If you have this case on the left side, you ain't gonna see inside it.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have it.
That is good point.
Or if you're a fan of Stranger Things,
Yeah.
you can do that too. Yeah.
Horus - Ivory the Goat. I don't know that that's eligible.
Turns out you won. That was the cheat code to win
Right.
the PC.
Okay, now it's time to get out our power supply. This, by the way, this is an 850 watt gigabyte 80 plus gold. This is a very tiny power supply. Now, is there are we limited to certain kinds or designs of power supplies with smaller builds like this?
So not really, at least not with this build. This can fit even the larger power supplies. It would just be a really tight fit. So yeah, this is a really good smaller case that fits pretty much everything a full size will.
And Moonlit View says the RGB colors that we use to take pics of that PC is perfect. Yeah. A lot of our photos are really great. I love them. Now, this is a modular power supply. So, Paul, what does that do and how does that help?
Yeah, so what modular means is none of the cables come pre-soldered in. You saw Hayden there pull the sticky off, excuse me, and show the ports, and then he plugged in all the cables we need. So while Hayden was doing that, I got the cables out and separated by which ones we would use in the build, which is what he plugged in here. And then I've got all these extras that came with the power supply. So we'll include these in the accessory box along with the power cord. That way the customer has them in case they ever upgrade and need them. But that's what's nice with these modulars. So all these cables, if this was a non-modular, these would all be soldered into the power supply. And we'd have to just bundle them up and manage them. So since we have a modular, we don't need to do that. So saves us some time and gives us a cleaner look inside the system.
Degat actually made a great point over here on the green side. It says Chrome has a memory saver in the settings under performance to save your computer's memory and help active tabs run smoothly. Chrome deactivates tabs that you aren't currently using. When you access an inactive tab, it automatically reloads the page. Interesting. I did not know that. But now I'm going to go in here and look at it. Under settings. Nope, that is not what I wanted. Interesting. Very interesting. Thank you for that bit of information. I was not aware of that. Opera GX has a better Twitter admin.
They are very funny. I came into work one day. Opera was pulled up. And it was on like the main page. And it was like giving you like an update or whatever. It was a realistic Patrick Star. It was the scariest.
Oh
thing.
yeah, I bet that was.
It was so funny. They were very full of memes.
Nice. Always like
Scott
seeing
Wins
that.
just rolled out swinging. His newer PSUs are so beefy you could beat your daddy with it. I mean, that's assault. But it's also, I mean, if you have one lying around, it's also a great,
Yeah,
home invasion prevention tool.
That's a big pro to a non-modular power supply is you can use the cables as the handle and swing your power supply around like a maniac and fight off home intruders.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. In a zombie apocalypse, everybody's gonna be pulling out their power supplies.
Yeah.
Here we go. A true weapon is an SNES controller. They are indestructible. That is also true. Those just never died. But modular has a +10 to projectile base. Others. Wow.
True.
Wow. Wow. We just went down the rabbit hole. I can see PC. J-Car is open on the green now. J-Car, you're jumping all over the place. I still see PC case build where GPU is standing up and back and on top, cables on top someday soon.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're referring to a vertical mount there, which vertical
There we
mounts
go.
are pretty sexy.
I'm gonna like power supply bolus. Dirty Yankee says I can picture Paul swinging one around in some tiny whities.
Yeah. Absolutely. How'd you know?
Yes. Game cubes will do some damage. Yeah, they will. Those things were hard.
And 64 controllers where it's at. 3 points.
Yeah. That thing looks like a
Wait.
weapon.
Wally says, I once updated Opera GX and I got a feature that said if I died and went AFK for 2 weeks, it would replace my history with a fictitious but a pleasant one. And I couldn't believe my eyes. That's wild.
Very, very funny.
Smart.
That's, yeah. That's amazing. Not repeating that. They got your back for real. Yes. Yes, they do. Okay, so now we've got the power supply in there. And while we are getting prepped for that, I think we're nearing our a time for us to roll through with our graphics card.
Yeah.
So this is an Asus RTX 4070. So this comes with 12 gigs of GDDR6X RAM, but it's also an OC. Paul, how does that affect the way your card performs if you overclock it?
Yeah, so the OC just means it's overclocked from the factory. Now, pretty much every brand, any card you buy, if it's not a Founders Edition, is going to have some sort of overclocking from it. Doesn't really mean much from the manufacturer side, but you can also overclock your video card outside of that, and that's where you'd see more of a gain there. Oh yeah, we used one of these last shows. I forgot about the packaging on this. It's super weird, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Look at this. It's like I'm buying a pound of ground beef from the grocery store. But this is a nice looking card.
Oh yeah, it comes with the phone stand.
Yep, you got your phone stand.
You get the phone stand with it.
Mm-hmm.
The white one of this is really nice.
Just throw it.
So much stuff. All right, we'll get this plastic off and we'll get to showing you guys this. What I like about this is it has like a clear window at the top, which is kind of cool. Got 3 display ports and 1 HDMI, pretty standard nowadays for most video cards, and a single 8-pin power connector. So I do like that.
Just waiting for GPUs in the future just to be Type-C.
To be what?
Type-C.
Oh yeah, Type-C, yeah, for sure.
Type-C for video.
Human proxies over there on the purples. Hello, a 7020 cut real. The one thing I will say is I did notice after when we overclocked my 3090, there was a difference in the amount of frames that I got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you overclock it yourself, you can
Get some nice
you can really see some good performance out of that.
After overclocking,
Teddy Bear Killer says the.
No, you're good, DJ, go.
I was saying, Teddy Bear Killer mentions that the good thing about the OC cards is there's a silent and OC option on a switch, so you have a card BIOS backup in case things go wrong. Interesting.
Yeah, most cards have that nowadays. So. All right, so this is our 4070 here. Pretty good looking card, honestly. Kind of small for a 4070, but I like it.
Yeah, it's a 2-fan. Which is now, will we need, based on how it feels, do you think we'll need a anti-sag device?
Nope, we won't need one for this. This one won't weigh enough to cause any issues with damage to the motherboard or any sag like that.
Scott mentions, yeah, I wanted a 4070 Ti, but paying $800 for one is way out of the budget.
It's fair. Give it some time.
Ivory says if you OC your GPU enough, you can turn it into a light bulb for a few seconds.
That is true.
It might not turn back
That
on.
right before it ignites?
Yes.
The white edition would fit better. I have one. I love my white one.
White cards are kind of like unicorns. They're becoming a little bit more available now, but you do pay a premium for a white card.
Yeah. Yep. Raul, is there any PC for sale in Wichita?
We have all sorts of PCs for sale here in Wichita.
Would you guys suggest buying a factory OC CPU card or personally OC it yourself?
I mean, pretty much every card you get has OC on it now from the factory. So if you're wanting to go that route, I would overclock it yourself. But I don't really overclock my video card that often until I'm at like the end of its life and I want to push it for as much as I can get.
That's the only reason I did it to mine. I changed thermal paste, thermal pads, and overclocked it. And when it dies, it dies.
Yep.
That is a thing.
Now, if you're really looking at all the brands and you know you want to get the best performing one, that OC speed is something to look at. You know, it'll list what speed it's overclocked to, so you can use that as kind of a gauge across the brands. You know, you might find one that's 20 to 100 hertz megahertz faster than the other one, but you know, as far as what you're going to see FPS in games, not too much of a difference unless you just get one of those really high-end enthusiast cards.
Let's see here. Frame Gaming mentions if you leave the factory OC, it will last longer. That's what I heard.
Yeah, anytime you're overclocking any of your components, you know, that's going to add additional wear onto the system. Now, if you've got the proper cooling there, that can help mitigate a lot of that wear, but, you know, overclocking is something that can cause more damage.
Blonde and Beautiful has a great question. If I were to purchase the Fantex reverse fans in the 3-pack, do I have to use all 3 fans connected in order for it to work?
No, so you can just connect 2 of them. You can just use 1 of them. It'll come with the connectors on them, so you can use 1, 2, or 3.
OC is a hot play. Here we go. My 2060 I recently overclocked because it's struggling to run while streaming. Yeah, I can see why that might happen. Bold and beautiful. You know what? It absolutely does say that, and I'm apparently illiterate. I'm so sorry. Good grief. All right. Now we are getting down to the final. Now we've got. Are we not going to be putting fans on that backside though?
Correct.
Today. Got it. Okay.
Yep, this customer has picked a 7-fan configuration. You could also get this in a 10-fan where you have 3 extra fans right here.
Let's see. Frame Gaming asks over on the green side, anything new on the 50 series?
I've heard nothing about the 50 series, so
yeah,
I don't got any exciting news about that. Yeah.
We don't need any more.
Yeah. Scott Wins mentions, I want to pair up my 4070 12 gig version with my Ryzen 7 5800X. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Raul, yes, they do. They know a hell of a lot more than me, that's for sure. Before the show, we should have a game where we guess how many zip ties to be used, and the winner wins. Well, I mean,
we do that.
What would the winner win? We did that one time. The winner got to choose between options for Hayden's tattoo. Yes.
The winner of today gets a date with Hayden, but you got to come
there.
Here.
You go.
You get a cupcake.
There you go.
Paul's going to make cupcakes.
I will.
And then he's going to ship it out.
No guarantees on that.
Yeah. Let's see here. Cornbread Kraus. Did the giveaway codes already go out? I missed it due to late lunch break. 2 have been given out so far. Oh, now Dirty Yankee brings up a thing that could win a CLX shirt. Possibly, maybe. You get nothing. We will have. Accept this unlimited code. There we go. Horus-VDIH. Very dismal, inhumane human.
Sure.
I should have come up with something different. Yeah, that's worth 200 entries, and everybody in all chats can use that. Everybody. Everybody. The 40s are I can't remember that much. Yes, the 40s are a bummer. They're pretty rock solid, except for the connector for the 4090. But that has since been there's some really good workarounds for that.
Oh.
All right.
All right. Well, we're pretty much going to be slapping panels on here. So.
Okay. Well, while we're doing that, I'd love to show everybody how they can slap their own panels if they were to get themselves a PC. Please don't hit your PC. There we go. At CLXgaming.com, we've got a great site that's going to make it just as easy as possible for you to get the PC of your dreams and configure it in just the right way. From your case size, you can go something small, something large. Your processors, we do AMD and Intel, plus RAM, you name it, we've got it, and you can't screw it up. Here's why. Our system has a built-in compatibility screening. So if you happen to choose two things that don't work together, like you've got a DDR4 board, but you've got DDR5 RAM, it's going to tell you, hey, you can either choose one of these boards that will work with the RAM you selected, or you can choose from one of these RAMs that will work with the board you selected. Once you solve the problem, it goes back to green over there at that button above my head, and you'll be able to continue on. We have so much you can do. You can overclock it. You can choose to have it closed loop or open loop, which is two different types of liquid cooling. We also have a ton of accessories. Whether you are getting into streaming, we've got capture cards. We've got Beacon products, which is like the Mix Create and the Beacon mic. We've got routers, t-shirts, keyboards, mice, controllers, headsets. It's basically a one-stop shopping center. Now, if you're not super keen on building your own, don't worry, we got you covered there too. We have dozens of ready-to-ship items that are already built, have already been tested, and are ready and waiting for our new home. And who knows, that might also be yours. So with that being said, for all of your future computer and gaming needs, head on over to clxgaming.com. Let's get you set up for the future. Snap my panels, yes. Hello, Kemlaman Suma. Welcome. Solid pitch right there. Thank you, Moonlit. I do my best. Right? I was just noticing that. Like, what? Wow. What? So much peel, so much wow. Yep. That is a great looking BC. Okay. Now the moment of truth. Let's see how this works out. I'm excited for the way that this is going to look. I love the way the white case, it colors everything. Alrighty, here we go. Yep, we're ready. Boom! Look at that. Oh, nice. Oh, nice, Cornbread. That's awesome. Yeah, this is one gorgeous PC. Let's go over everything that's inside of this unit for our friend Jesse in Florida. This is a Horus 011 Dynamic Evo case with an AMD Ryzen 9 7900X processor mounted on an Asus TUF Gaming B650 Plus Wi-Fi motherboard. It has 32 gigs of DDR5 5600 RAM and, of course, an NVIDIA RTX 4070 12 gig graphics card. Your operating system is going to be on a 1 terabyte AData Legend 700 Gold M.2, and your secondary storage will be a 4 terabyte 3.5-inch Western Digital hard drive. The CPU is going to be cooled by a CLX Quench 240 closed liquid cooler, along with 7 GameDS Aeolus M2 fans, and it's all being powered by an 850 watt gigabit 80 plus gold power supply unit. Nice. Well, there we go. Making sure I didn't miss anything over here because that's a lot of people typing. So as per usual, this show is done in 2 parts, and we're gonna have something very special. We're gonna talk about that in just a second. But right now, don't forget, our show is on every Tuesday and Thursday starting at 11 a.m. Pacific. Our focus is usually on the green on Tuesdays and the purple on Thursdays. So that way you've got a little bit of the best of us all the way around. Now, today, we're going to be taking a break, and when we come back, you're going to be able to spend the afternoon with Hayden, who's going to be building a really special PC, and this is a PC that I believe, was the type that we carried at CitizenCon. For those of you who don't know what CitizenCon is basically a Star Citizen convention, and it's wild what they did here. You're going to love it. We're going to show you that in just a few. We had 150 systems there, which was absolutely amazing. I'm so excited. I'm going next year, I promise. But with that being said, for all of your social media needs to keep up on what's going on here, along with potentially getting a code, check out CLX Gaming at YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. You can find us on the purple at CLX Gaming TV and on the green at just CLX Gaming. You can also check us out on YouTube because we've got all of our videos mounted there now, which is awesome. Also, you can get codes in our Discord sometimes. That's discord.gg/CLX Gaming. Lots of fun over there. You can also get codes on my streams, which usually happen after this show is over. So, with that being said, let me prep it. This is a great video. We're going to take a break. We're going to show you what CLX was getting up to. So, on behalf of everybody in production, that is Jason and Kyle, along with Paul and Hayden, I'm DJ Blue PDX. Don't go away. This is what we did at CitizenCon.